during the year. So you get a touch. Part two. This is the whole thing. Part two. Okay, quick comments on the 2020 budget on behalf of Catherine Hobson, who, let's face it, got a better offer. She's in Florida. In the past, when I've delivered these reports for her, she's left me a script, which I have simply read. This time she ran short of time, so no script. So bear with me. It was not, anyway, start off. It was not easy, but we've once again come up with a balanced budget with even $54 to spare.
Yes.
Operating income, which is comprised of late pledge, previous year pledge, and other sources, is budgeted at $10,000 more than last year. Late and previous year are unchanged, and pledge is always based on the recommendation of the stewardship committee. Other sources was reduced to be closer to the 2019 actual. Non-operating income is up slightly, again using the Marshall Rice Fund to offset supply, clergy, and mileage. No change for fundraising and net investment income, Centennial Fund, and Renters Housing are all formula driven. Under expenses, as already mentioned in the treasurer's remarks, there are some shifts between categories. Personnel has gone down, but in turn maintenance contracts and independent contracts have gone up. After many months of discussion, there are two positions we're working on alternative approaches to. As announced earlier this month by Father Sunil, we have eliminated the sexton position. To keep things covered, we have already hired a cleaning service and have someone on call for snow removal. Full disclosure, the someone who was suggested by Caswell is my son Harvey, so.
No bias.
No bias. But it was his idea, so I blame him.
And Harvey said, "Have all the chairs in here."
And we have to, he's used to doing that. He does the same sort of thing at the chorus. Additional tasks, such as these kinds of setups and other miscellaneous things, may be handled by a part-time person who is yet to be hired. We also want to encourage pitching in as we are all able. For example, setups and takedowns for events would be handled by the group sponsoring the event. This transition is a work in progress and is already evolving, I think, in a very positive way. One of the happiest changes is the reduction in the percent of our diocesan apportionment. In other words, the percentage was lowered, so it made a big difference. $4,650 less this year than last year. Bishop Neisel has been working hard to try to inch this down, which we definitely appreciate. That is basically all I have to say. Unless someone has questions about anything I can help with, or if I don't know the answer, I can find it out for you.
So folks, there are two things that we need to do. So Stevie, thank you so much. We're try and plan this type of stuff, but it's not. It's exciting, isn't it?
No.
Yeah. Yes. God, I'm praising God for that $53 extra for the budget. 54. All right. So we do. I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. Good.
Sunil?
Yeah.
I just want to give a special thanks to Stevie for all the time he put in most weeks prior, so it's been a lot of work. It's most appreciated.
Can you make that into a motion? Let's put it in the bylaws. Let's put it in, the minutes. Pat, well, Stevie. No, Stevie for
Make a
treasurer.
motion that we thank Stevie for her help in finance and bookkeeping, temporary bookkeeping gap that we had. So moved.
All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. If you do, then you have to see Pam about that. Now let's do one for Pam right now too. Why don't you do that?
I make a motion that we thank Pam for stepping in and leading us for the last 6 months in the organ and choir.
Could I ask George Kent to make that second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
It hasn't been 6 months. It's been since September 1st, so it's like 4 going on 5.
6 months.
The only person who would argue, Pam Young, to adjust it to 4 and 5 and a month.
I'd rather you just correct the minutes next year, because that's fun with that.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Good. All right, moving on. Let's see. New business. So I'm going to ask Paul Kuhn to come forward and to present to us the nominating committee report.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay, the 2019 nominating committee members were as follows. Paul Kuhn, Chair, Lisa Kitchen, Rita Mulcahy, Frank Letty, Deb Dunham, Sarah Starkweather, Molly Schoenenberg, and Dave Dunlap. And this year, our task was to find replacements and nominees for up to 4 vestry members, as well as delegates to the Diocesan Convention and to the Narragansett Deanery. Of the 4 potential vacancies that we had coming up on the vestry, 3 of them, me, Natalie, and Barbara Capalbo, have agreed to begin their second term. Connie Annan, her term was expiring, has declined to begin her second term. So, therefore, we, the nominating committee, have nominated Molly Schoenenberg to serve on the vestry. So the 2020 vestry nominees are Paul Kuhn to serve a second 3-year term, Natalie Pukas to serve her second 3-year term, Barbara Capalbo, who is finishing a term that was vacated last year by Walter Papakevich, is going to begin her first 3-year term. And Molly Schoenenberg, as I said earlier, is going to begin her first 3-year term. We also needed to nominate a junior warden, and we have one. So we re-nominate for his 3rd and I believe final year, Caswell Cook, as well as nominees for the Diocesan Convention. They will be myself and Christy Allardyce, as well as Caswell, said he's going to go. And the Narragansett Deanery, alternates for the Diocesan Convention are going to be the members who went last year, Alan Lawton and Don Passetti, so they will fill in as alternates. The Narragansett Deanery will be Roger Brown and Dan Leonard, with Tom Tortella and Natalie Pukas as alternates. So those, I believe, that's everything from the nominating committee. So we need a motion, right?
Yes, we need a motion. I would entertain a motion to accept the slate of nominees presented by the nominating committee chair. Okay, any, a second? All right. Any further discussions? Any further people who'd like to try their hand? No? Good, that's good. That's what we don't want. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Any abstentions? Great, good.
So just 2 quick things. Immediately following this annual meeting, at the New Vestry's organizational meeting, Stevie Blanchett will be confirmed as the treasurer, and Sarah Starkweather will be confirmed as the secretary.
Clerk of the vestry, yeah, clerk of the vestry.
Clerk, I'm sorry, yeah.
And senior warden will be appointed by the record.
Great. I do expect that we are going to have some turnover next year. I'm just projecting out. Anybody who has an interest in serving on a committee, on the vestry, being a delegate to the Diocesan Convention or the Deanery, grab me. I'm around all the time, or grab any members from the nominating committee. We'd like to develop a pool of talent from which to draw going forward. It's my 3rd year, I'm just figuring it out. So that's what we're going to do. And I guess if I have to make a nomination for the
Nominating committee.
So the nominating committee going forward in 2020, they've all been conscripted by me. So I myself will be chair again, Lisa Kitchen, Lito McKetty, Frank Letty, Deb Dunham, Sarah Starkweather, Molly Schonenberg, and Dave Dunlap. I need a motion for that.
All right, so we need a motion for that?
Move it.
All right, move. All right, you second it?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great.
Thank you, Steele. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. I think we're getting better at this. Okay? No. So, first off, for those of us who are, we call, so the nominating, so do we have, we didn't take the nominees for the floor for all of the vestry, right? So are they approved now? They're approved. Well, I'm still learning, 5 years after the fact. And so immediately after this, immediately after the service, or this meeting, I mean, we'll go into the Token Chapel, and we'll have a quick organizational meeting for those of us who are on the vestry. So I would like to invite Connie Anand up here. I know it's embarrassing, but Connie, come on up here for a second. Connie Anand, you know, when I first came here at Christ Church, there are many legends that are huge in this congregation. There is, of course, legends like, David Jocelyn and Larry Provenzano, George Kent. Some of those guys are still alive. They all are. And then there's also, Father Tobin, Father Grote, and Jim Anning. These are our spiritual ancestors of this place, and I look up to these folks with great admiration. And so it was with fear and trembling, I met Connie Annan when she first came, and she has been so gracious and so wonderful. And Connie, I want to thank you for agreeing to serve on the vestry. You've served in so many capacities in your whole career and in your whole life in the church, but for you to serve in leadership at the vestry was just wonderful for me, and just a great gift.
Thank you.
And you also served as chair of the stewardship committee. And whenever anyone is approached by Connie Annan, they eventually pledge. So, but I just want to thank you, and I'm just grateful to God that you're here and that you have this wonderful ministry. Church family.
Thank you. I'm glad I came today.
Betsy wrapped it so you can.
Oh, thank you very much. That will go on the wall.
Thank you again, Connie.
Thank you.
So the Apostle Paul reminds us that the church is like a body filled with many parts, all of which work for the benefit of the whole. No one part is more important than the other to the survival and the thriving of the whole. This is what I feel about Christ Church. I'm grateful for the many parts of our organization and leadership, all of those essential parts. I'm grateful for the leadership of our wardens and vestry, and each chair of our 37 various committees. I ask you, if you are a warden, a vestry person, or a chair of a commission, please stand right now. We thank you for your leadership. We acknowledge it because that's how our church continues to thrive. I'm also grateful for our parish and clergy staff. You know, I had an image of Jackie up there before, and some people, and you know, the problem with having a sermon written in and so that everyone is following it, you know, I deviate from that, right? Yeah. And the reason why I deviated from that was because I have it in another place. And I wanted to ask Jackie to come forward, right up here. Jackie and Christy, where's Christy? Christy's on here. Christy, come on up. Come on down. Dorothy Adams, I didn't see her today, but I'll ask her to come next year. Bob Barber, if you could stand up. Barb? He left. He left already. Stevie Blanchett. Stevie, you want to stand or do you want to come up? You know, I can never make her do anything. You didn't have the option. Pam Young, it can't, can you come? Or, no, okay, you stay right there. George Kent, Master George Kent, sit or stand. Stand. The Reverend Sandra Haynes Murdoch. Bishop Jocelyn, please stand. I want to thank all of you. You are the parish staff. You go through so much. You deal with a record that's all over the place, filled with a lot of energy, a lot of ideas, but you are the reason why this church is growing as well as it is. You also deal with a parish that thinks that they're all your bosses. But be reminded, folks, and you too, I'm the boss. You all may be seated. Jackie holds all these balls in the air, right? We're a busy and active place. And, you know, there's a lot of demands that our parish has because you all are intelligent and faithful, and you all demand a lot. And it's hard in the parish office. So, I just want you to be aware. Did you notice that this year, as in last year, we got this annual report to you out by email 1 week early. That's not easy. Just so that you are aware, that is not easy. Just doing an annual report is not easy. And all the various changes that go on. I know we want to be perfect. We strive for that. All I'm looking for is progress. And I think that's what God calls us to. Continue to improve. But acknowledge with gratefulness the gifts that we have already. And so, Jackie, I want to thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'll start with Ryan Zemanek, who's been taking a lot of pictures, and also he was the one who did Father Sunil's slideshow so that I didn't have to. Thank you, Ryan. No, this is not his slideshow. So we're trying to change the office volunteerism with the change of time. looking at how someone can help with a specific project rather than dedicate one day a week for the rest of their lives, like has been done before. So I'd like to thank people who've been helping with specific projects, Meg Roy, Susan Dowd, who comes in and helps me every week, Ellen Bell, Pam Young, Stevie Blanchett, Ronnie Willits, Mary Ellen Giblin, Lisa Gosling, Molly Schonenberg, Linda Nault, Jeannie Wilkes, Susan Cargill, and of course, my love. Thanks for helping with everything. Thank you for everything that
She's looking
you
at Senator Tebow, I think, right?
Yes.
Senator Tebow. Eric and Paula are getting excited here.
So it's all helped me so much, and I appreciate everything. I'm not a great speaker, but I am good behind a desk.
Thank you, Jackie. Friends, I truly believe that if we are considered successful in God's call for our church to be a light in the world, it's because of the dedicated work of all of them, those volunteers that were just named, all of us, who humbly offer their talents and gifts to God. Those we have named are among the saints of God, the servants of God. And all of you are those servants of, same servants of God. Thank you, all of you, for all you do. And so I invite now our bishop to do a final blessing, but before that, we're going to end with a prayer. Oh, wait, would you like to have new business? All right, so let's do new business before the closing. All right, George, you want to know what is a program-sized church?
Right.
All right, so a program-sized
So
church.
what were we before and where have we gone into?
So we were there in the Episcopal Church. This is the theory behind it. There's a family-sized church, there's a pastoral-sized church, a transitional-sized church, a program-sized church, and the corporate-sized church model. The corporate is the largest that you could possibly be. So a pastoral-sized church has an average Sunday attendance between 76 to 140 people, right? And then a program-sized church has between 225 to 800 ASA, average Sunday attendance. We're now at 238. So what happens is, historically, we've been, and I think Caswell reminded us of this last year, we've been struggling, we've been going up and down between pastoral size to the higher end pastoral size church to program size church. We're in this, what we call, in the model, a transitional size. We're between 141 and 224. We've got more numbers than that. But we act as if we're a transitional size church. That means that the priest is overworked. And that's a joke there, George. And then the model of ministry is stretched out. For a pastoral-sized church, they're family members who offer leadership. Right now, in a program-sized church, we have committees, which is what we are doing well, the committee structure. And the priest has usually an assistant who works with the priest, and we also have a parish staff, and the priest does a lot of delegating. And the pastor is the primary administrator and delegator. And the governance is, where the power is handled in a program-sized church, where it really resides is in those committees. All those committees that work together. We have 37 committees, right? And all of those, we have more than that? We have more than that. And all of those committees work together. And then they come to the vestry, and then the vestry decides how to allocate funds for our congregation. So because we are being successful because this model is working, but there are struggles in between. We're still trying to move to claim that experience of being a program-sized church. So there are times where it feels like, that we should be involved with everything. We don't necessarily have to. You know, we just do our part and do our part in our committees to make a difference. Does that answer your question a little bit? George, thank you. I love your questions, and you're one of the reasons why we have this annual report done 1 week early. Any other questions?
Everyone signed in.
Has everyone signed in?
No.
Okay, so why haven't you?
Passing it around.
Is anyone, all right, so who's got it now? This one right here?
There's only one, keep passing it.
All right, so before you leave, don't forget to sign this. All right, so I invite Bishop Jocelyn to come forward, and then I'll say a prayer, and Bishop Jocelyn will give us the final blessing. Brian, I just want to thank you before that. Thank you for helping with this thing. I have it written down. Jackie took my thunder. She does that. But the Lord be with you. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we thank you for the many gifts that you've given us. We thank you for our church. We thank you for the people in our church. People who are called to be saints. We are called to be saints by you. You called us out so many centuries ago, as you began calling those disciples on the banks of the Galilee. And we are your present-day disciples. Lord, we thank you that you have given us the strength and the courage to follow you. And we thank you also, Lord, that in this call, you are helping us to be more and more like you each day. We are not perfect, but we know, Lord God, that as you nourish us in our call, we will be made more like you. Bless us in our work. Bless our congregation. Help us to be light in the world. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Never ask a bishop to stand up and say something. Some of you know that that I was bishop in central New York, which is in upstate New York. And then the presiding bishop asked me if I would work in some parishes or dioceses that were having trouble. And so I became sort of a fixer. And one of the parishes, or one of the dioceses in which I worked, was the Diocese of New Jersey. And probably not many of you know much of the geography of New Jersey. But it's below New York. And in many ways it has some wonderful things. But it had been going through a terrible crisis. And there was lots that wasn't working. When I went there, I was drawn to a town called Vineland. I'm sure most of you don't know about Vineland. It is geographically the largest city in the United States. It's where Welch's grape juice started. And one of the members of the Methodist Church there managed to get through the hierarchy of the Methodist Church that they were not supposed to use wine for communion. They now have moved away, and they're up in someplace in Massachusetts or Maine or someplace like that. In any event, Vineland was a town that was very nice, but it had gone through a terrible experience, and especially the parish. And it was all beaten up. And I went there to see what was going on. And there was this fella, an experienced priest, and he was working hard with them. And you know, it was very hard to keep going. The morale was so bad. And when the morale is bad, usually they blame the priest, no matter what happened. And I was so impressed. This fella had energy. He kept going. He didn't give up. Sometimes he would have to take a lot of guts from people, but he was energetic, and he kept things going and made some progress. Later, he moved to another parish, and then he moved to another parish after that. Christ Church Westerly. And I am so glad to see the progress that has been made, and the energy is there, and it's finding a way to be directed in a helpful way. And congratulations, we're very, very grateful you're here. So we come to the end, and they asked me if I would give the blessing. And so I do that, asking God to send His blessing upon each of you.
Amen.
And upon your families.
Amen.
And upon all those with whom you come in contact. And so the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be yours today and tomorrow.
Amen.
Amen. Let's just thank you for the bishop.